All right, chapter 4. We're down to recognizing polynomials. Now, a polynomial is made up of multiple monomials. Now, if you have monomials that have the same variable raised to the same power, they're called like terms. So way back we talked about combining like terms. So if it's 2x, anything else that has an x can be combined. So first thing you have to do is combine your like terms. Now, a binomial means it has two terms. 3x plus 4y. 7y minus 2. Those are binomials. A trinomial means it has three terms. So x squared minus 7x plus 5. That would be a trinomial. 10x squared minus 7 plus 12. Minus 7x plus 12. It's got an x squared, an x, and a coefficient. Those are called trinomials. All right. So again, we have a coefficient. Coefficient is still just the number in front of your x squared or your x, or just a number by itself. That's coefficient. We still have the variables. Now, the new thing that we have is called the leading coefficient, or the leading term. Yes. All right, so the leading coefficient, when you put them in order, from your exponents from the least to the greatest, the first number is called your leading coefficient. So the one right here, this is your leading. It'll have the biggest exponent. And in a polynomial, you do not add the exponents to get the degree. Monomials, you add the exponents to get your degrees. Polynomials, you do not. The degree comes from the largest. All right. The next thing is called standard form. In order to be written in standard form, your exponents are in order from biggest to smallest. So this is standard form. Is this one in standard form? Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
Is the second one written in standard form?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because you still got to simplify that 2x squared, don't you?
No.
No.
Why is this second one not in standard form? Ms. Johnson, what do you think?
Because the 5 is at the end.
Because your 5x is at the end. It has to come in order. This is x to the 1, and this is x to the 0. So they have to be in order. So it has to be 2x squared minus plus 5x minus 3. You have to put them in order for them to be in standard form. Now, we're going to move on to the addition. Addition of polynomials. If you have this, in order to add the polynomials, the easiest thing to do is called vertical addition. That means you put them right on top of each other. So we start with our first one, 2x squared minus 5x plus 7. And I'm adding, you have to put your like terms underneath the like terms. So my 5x squared has to go right here. So that's 5x squared. 10x goes in your x column minus 3. Now, divide it into columns and do what that column says. Hold on, wait a minute.
What's that?
Hold on.
I was saying, how did you get those numbers, the 5x squared?
Because that's what I was adding to it. So you just put it in the, this was a 2x squared. So you have to put your 5x squared under your x squared.
Yeah.
10x under the x column.
Okay.
Now, what was your question, Shay?
No mind, you just answered. I was
Answer.
confused with this.
Okay. So now, I've drawn lines in between my terms. So I do the math problem that it says. So 7 minus 3 is 4. Negative 5 plus 10 is, and that's a positive. That's a positive. So 2 plus 5 is 7x squared. So there's your answer.
Why you got lines?
To separate the terms. I know if it's an x squared, it has to be right here in this group. That's the way I'm showing separation of my like terms.
This is fine.
All right, let's look at another problem. Look at this one.
No boy there.
Alright, so it says 2x squared plus 5x minus 4 plus negative 8x squared minus 10x. Just tell me I want to add them. So write your first one down. Draw your lines between your terms. Now look at my next one. It says negative 8x squared, so it goes here, minus 10x. Do I have anything to put in that column? No. Right there is why it's easier to put the lines. Because if you're missing a term, you know what goes in that spot.
A 0.
Plus 0.
So this is subtraction.
Nope, this is a, it's got an addition sign. All right, so negative 4 plus 0 is negative 4. Negative 10 plus 5x, negative 5x. And negative 8 plus 2. your answer. Addition is the easy. Subtraction's not far behind. Alright, so let's look at another problem. Eight x squared plus 7 plus the quantity of x minus 5. Alright, so again, first thing I'm going to do is I have to write down. We know it's got to be in order, so we know it has to be x squared, x, then a number. So I have 8x squared plus, how many x's?
0.
Plus 7. Alright, let me rewrite that. So in my first one, I have 8x squared plus, I have 0 x's. I know I have to have a column for x's because there's x's in this one. So I have 0x plus 7. Draw my lines. Alright, how many x squareds in the first one?
0.
0x squared. How many x's?
1.
1x
Minus 5.
minus 5. Alright. 2.
X.
So that's a positive 2. So that's an x.
Positive X. 8x squared.
8x squared plus x plus 2. So you do them, if you'll put them in vertical format, one right under the other, it makes this very, very much so easier. Alright, so let's look at subtraction. Alright. So subtraction starts off the same way as addition. You write your first number. So I have 7x squared plus 3x minus 5. I'm going to make my lines. Now, in order to subtract, you take each number's opposite. So what's the opposite of 2?
Negative 2.
So it's going to be negative 2x squared. What's the opposite of negative 4?
Plus 4.
Plus 4x. What's the opposite of negative 3? And put an addition sign.
So why you want to change the first
Negative
one?
2.
Like the first one?
First set stays the same.
I'm lost.
Hold on, we'll do another one. Alright, so negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2.
Plus 7x.
3x plus 4x is 7x, and that's a positive.
Plus
7, that's 5x squared.
So my question is, where did you get that addition number from when you said we want subtraction?
I took the opposite of each number and then you add it. So there is no such thing as subtraction.
Okay, so every time we see a negative, we should just automatically.
No. When you see a subtraction sign in between two polynomials. Alright, so let's look at another one.
Wait, I have a question. Then why is the negative 5 1 change something?
Because the first number stays exactly the same. I'm not taking anything from this. I'm not changing this first one.
So the only one you change is on that one.
Only one you change is the one right after your minus sign. Alright. Let's look at another example. Alright, so you write the first one just like you see it. 6x squared plus 5x minus 3. Draw my separation lines. Alright, so I have, this symbol tells me the opposite of 4 is what?
-4.
So that's -4x squared. The opposite of -3 is,
+3. Okay, I got it.
the opposite of +7 is -7. And then you add them. So -3 plus -7, -10. +5 plus +3, 6 minus 4. So it comes out to 2x squared plus 8x minus 10.
I got it.
That's how you do the addition and subtraction. Alright, so if you look at your agenda,
You mean this how you do subtraction?
yes.
You said addition.
Well, because we talked about addition first,
He was
and then we talked about subtraction. Alright, now, boys and girls, stop. Your assignment.
Did you record? That's why I'm asking.
Identify polynomials. Page 48, 17 through 26. Addition and subtraction of polynomials. Page 48, 27 through 38. Now, those are the first two assignments. We just talked about them. Now they're due next Tuesday.
What's the same page?
all of these?
They right there.
Listen, page 48, problem 17 through 26. And then today we also talked about the addition and subtraction of polynomials. That assignment is page 48, problems 27 through 38. Now, because it's not like it's due tomorrow. It's due next Tuesday. Now, here's one thing that might help you. Some of you have been turning in your assignments early. What that allows me to do is check over it, and if you've made a really bad score, then we can go over it again in class. So I am not telling you that you have to go home and do all three of these assignments tonight. What
Third one.
Right, because we've not even talked about that. These are your three assignments that you're going to have for this week. I told you I'll give you three assignments. You have 1 week. So if you go home tonight and do the identifying polynomials section, then bring it to me tomorrow and I'll look at it. Yes, sir.
What do we do when we have one that's a plus and then we have another one right after that that's a minus?
Oh, good question. All right, Alex wants to know if you have a problem that looks like this.
37.
So we have 6x squared plus 3x minus 4 plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 10 minus 12x squared minus 3x plus 5. I just made every one of those up.
Oh.
Alright, you do it just like the old order of operation. You do addition and subtraction from left to right. So the first thing you do is you're going to add these. So
Is that a 4 now?
6x squared plus 3x minus 4. And then you have 2x squared minus 4x minus 10. Put them together. So that's minus 14 minus 1x and 8x squared. So then you take this answer, bring it over to the side. 8x squared minus 1x minus 14. And then the opposite of 12 is negative 12. The opposite of negative 3x is,
Me, but it's,
hold on. And the opposite of 5 is negative 5. So then you still do columns. So do your first two. If you have subtraction first, you do that, and then take that answer over and add to it.
What do you do when you have a number outside of the parentheses?
Outside of the parentheses. Ooh, we'll get to that tomorrow.
But it's on the questions for tonight's homework.
But it's not due till next Tuesday, so we'll get to that one tomorrow. So if there's something that you don't know how to do, that is just a plain addition or subtraction, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Then we're going to move on to the multiplication tomorrow.
Okay.
It's subject 38.
All right. Any other questions?
Here's your property.